I
Mm-hmm.
don't know how much of people's depression. I mean, I think depression has a mosaic of problems that's associated with it, and a mosaic of causes, like a large pattern. There's a lot of stuff going on that
Yeah.
causes people to be
Yeah.
depressed. Some of it, in your case, may very well have been from a physical injury, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a big
I had
factor.
never considered that until now. So,
I think it's 100%
yeah.
connected, 100%, because it's totally in the literature. You know,
But
my good friend Dr. Mark Gordon, he does a lot of work with traumatic brain injury patients, and he runs this Wounded Warriors. It's called what is it called? What is his the thing that he works with those guys? Warrior Angels, and it's helping people with traumatic brain injuries. And he's helped countless soldiers, fighters, football players, all these people.
yeah.
And it's real similar with a lot of them.
Yeah,
They,
and
they
that's
have no hope.
and exactly, and I guess that's the thing that I've learned from this. Again, from 18-year-old Chris, that thought a lot of that was just made up, and people giving excuses. Like, to what I've understand now about is, again, it feels those that place that your mind can take you, it feels just as real as anything else. Like, even if you tell yourself, like, you can tell yourself 100 times that, oh yeah, well, you still got a job, you're still happy, everything's fine. It's like, if I don't know, it's your perception of reality becomes very distorted when you're in that place. And it's again, for me, I think a lot of it came down to, I just knew I wasn't fulfilling whatever purpose it was I was
Well,
here to fulfill, you know.
You probably didn't have any energy because you had a head injury. It's probably a major factor in it.
Yeah.
Major factor. It's another major factor in people with head injuries. They drink a lot because their dopamine is really low.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like it fucks up everything, man.
Mm-hmm.
And there's people that have traumatic brain injuries that are subconcussive trauma from playing soccer. People play soccer and heading the ball. It doesn't even hurt, but you throttle your brain in the cage over and over and over again, and eventually you have TBI. That's real. You have real like CTE symptoms for soccer players. I mean, it's crazy, but the head is just not designed to get hit.
Yeah.
And I've experienced it with so many fighters, so many guys that I know that got knocked out, and then after the knockout, they're like severely depressed, both because they lost, because like it's, even if you lose by a decision, you get depressed.
Yeah.
It's a
Hello, this is Dr. Mark L. Gordon. And yes, Joe Rogan proves that after multiple years of MMA and BKK, heading the ball, nights on the town, and eating exotic bugs, you can reclaim your mental prowess and become the intellectual magnet that he is. Also, I want to take a moment to thank you, Joe Rogan, for the years of support you have provided to the Millennium Health Centers and Warrior Angels Foundation in sharing your platform to increase awareness of our work in stopping the progression of trauma-related psychiatric conditions that put our veterans and civilian communities at risk for suicide. Thank you. I was sent the clip we just saw where Rogan and Anthony discuss trauma as a causation for personality change, depression, agitation, and a whole lot more. Basically, the stuff that the Millennium Health Centers has focused on for the past 30 years. I put together a 10-slide supportive presentation to provide a little of the science supporting the conversation. So let's go. Head trauma. The primary trauma can be caused by concussive and subconcussive hits as well as with prolonged stress. The primary trauma causes a change in the brain's chemistry representing a secondary trauma. This is due to the release of free radicals and pro-inflammatory cytokines that culminate in the loss of hormones, neurotransmitters, and enzyme systems that are required to maintain a healthy brain. Sometimes the hit is of a subconcussive variety where there is no immediate symptoms in the person, but as this 30-year study shows, over time they can develop the onset of several psychiatric disorders, with depression being most prominent. Depression is found in about 10% of the general population, and after a traumatic event, that number can go up to 25 or 50% within the first year, and then to 60% by about 7 years. This tells us that something tangible is responsible for the indolent progression of depression. The medical literature is supporting the relationship of neuroinflammation causing depression. This is brought about by the dysregulation of many neurochemical pathways by pro-inflammatory cytokines, chemokines, and free radicals like reactive oxygen species and reactive nitrogen species. A major free radical generated after trauma is called peroxynitrite, which alters the brain's neurochemistry. Peroxynitrite inhibits the enzymes tryptophan hydroxylase and decarboxylase that are needed to produce serotonin and melatonin from L-tryptophan. Without serotonin, depression develops, and without melatonin, insomnia ensues. As a matter of fact, nearly 100% of our patient population complains of depression, insomnia, and fatigue. Another harmful effect of peroxynitrite is that it selectively kills nerve cells that are responsible for the production of dopamine in an area of the brain called substantia nigra. Without dopamine, you can develop Parkinson's disease. In the general population, Parkinson's starts after 65 years of age, but in our veterans and professional sports players, it can start under 50 years of age. When the brain is exposed to inflammation, it can shrink or atrophy. During normal aging, there is a subtle loss of brain mass indicated by the upper line. But after a traumatic brain injury, there is accelerated loss of brain mass, which causes psychological and cognitive impairment. This study shows that by 3 months after a TBI, 56% of those surveyed had one or more hormone insufficiencies, and by 12 months they had improved to 36%. Nonetheless, after 12 months, the individual entered the chronic state with one or more hormone insufficiencies. Again, neuroinflammation is a disruptor of healthy brain chemistry. Inflammation will limit the production of luteinizing hormone so that sex hormones cannot be made in adequate quantities. And it is the insufficiency of these hormones that lead to many of the psychiatric disorders. This slide is to display the number of articles available at Google Scholar that associate a particular hormone deficiency with the development of depression. Every year, the number of articles stressing the relationship of hormones to all forms of psychiatric conditions increases. I think hormonal deficiency is a more probable cause for psychiatric conditions than a specific medication deficiency. If you want more of these presentations, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye for now.